Hello, it's another new week and time for some more thoughts from the Bible. Remember, there are new videos every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, so you can always join with me then to explore this amazing book together. Now, I was reading a very familiar Bible story a few days ago. It's found in Luke chapter 5, and this is it starting from verse 17. One day, Jesus was teaching, and Pharisees and teachers of the law were sitting there. They had come from every village of Galilee and from Judea and Jerusalem, and the power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick. Some men came carrying a paralysed man on a mat and tried to take him into the house to lay him before Jesus. When they could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, they went up on the roof and lowered him on his mat through the tiles into the middle of the crowd, right in front of Jesus. It's so helpful to actually picture the scenes in some of these familiar stories. This man couldn't walk. He was paralysed. And then here comes a glimmer of hope. Jesus is in town. He's been doing amazing miracles. Maybe, just maybe, he could heal me. I could walk again. I could run. I could jump up and down and I could dance. The hope builds, and he calls a few of his mates to come and give him a hand. Just get me to Jesus, he says. That is all I need. So they arrive at the house, and I can imagine that there's this palpable sense of excitement. The power of the Lord was with Jesus to heal the sick, the passage read. As they draw closer to the crowd, maybe they started to hear some stories. I'm telling you, man, I was blind. Now I can see. The hope rises another notch. But as the little group gets closer to the house, they can't even see the doorway. Crowds of people are gathered, shoving against each other to try and get closer to hear the words of Jesus, to ask for their own healing. No social distancing there, I'm pretty sure. The hope turns to despair as one of his friends turns to the man and says, "I'm really, really sorry, mate. It just can't be done. We can't find a way through these people. It is impossible. You are not going to be able to see Jesus today." Imagine the man's disappointment. His hopes had been raised only to be dashed against a crowd of people. Many of them as desperate as him, I'm sure. They could not find a way to do this because of the crowd, the passage says. But they didn't stop there. Instead, they climbed onto the flat roof of this building. Somehow they hauled their paralysed friend onto the roof with them. Then they tore a hole in the roof. I can kind of imagine, from underneath, bits of plaster falling down onto the heads of the Pharisees who were waiting under there. They tear a hole, they pull up the tiles, and they lower that man right down into the middle of the crowd. I can only imagine what the Pharisees and the Bible teachers, let alone the owner of the house, mind you, were thinking at that point. I can also almost picture a giant smile on Jesus's face. Maybe a laugh even escapes his lips. This paralysed man was not going to accept, "I can't do that." He and his friends found a way to his miracle, even when it seemed as if there was no way forward, even when it seemed as if it was impossible. I wonder how often we miss out on seeing the miraculous because we say, "I can't do that." Because we look at a situation that seems impossible and simply walk away. And maybe we mutter that we'll try again on another day. It's all too easy for us to give up at the first obstacle. Along with my Bible teaching, I'm also an author. But getting a book published these days is an incredibly difficult task. It's really hard work. It's such a competitive process. It feels like you're kind of standing at the back of that crowd and jumping up and down and shouting, "Notice me, please notice me." It would be so easy to give up, to think I shouldn't bother using that creative gift that God has given me because it's just too hard. It's impossible. I can't do it. And I don't know for sure if it will ever happen for me. I don't know that. But I do know that I'm not going to give up trying because it looks difficult. I'm not sure that climbing onto the roof of a publishing house and tearing a hole in it is exactly the right strategy for me at this time. But I'm going to keep listening for a whisper of guidance if there is some other way that I should be trying or approaching this, or if I just need to just keep on battering my way in. I don't want to give up because it looks like it can't be done. What about you? Is there anything that you've been hoping for, desperately praying for, earnestly searching for? I so encourage you today to stop saying, "I can't do it." Stop saying it can't be done. There is no way. It is impossible. And look for another way. You don't know how close you might be to seeing an amazing miracle that absolutely transforms your life. Just because a situation looks impossible according to the world that we live in does not mean it is impossible for God. But perhaps He's calling you to climb up above the crowd, to do something completely different in your life. Whatever situation you're in right now, whatever you're facing, no matter how much it seems like it can't be done, remember that God is over and above it all. His power is so much greater than anything else. And you have no idea how close you might be to your breakthrough right now. Keep going. Thank you so much for joining me again for these thoughts from the Bible. I'll see you next time.